The first season of Squid Game became the most watched series in Netflix history by turning a brutally simple premise: desperate people playing children's games for money, with death as the penalty for failure, into a searing indictment of capitalism and the disposability of human life. 3 years later, creator Hwang Dong-hyuk returned with a seven-episode second season that premiered on December 26, 2024, expanding the story in ambitious if uneven directions. Where Season 1 was a self-contained horror fable, Season 2 is explicitly the first half of a larger story, one that ends not with resolution, but with devastation. Season 2 opens exactly where Season 1 ended, at the airport. Gi-hun, having just won 45.6 billion won and watched dozens of people die in the process, was about to board a flight mark in the subway. He turned around, he dyed his hair red, and then the story skipped ahead. When we catch up with Gi-hun, 2 years have passed and the goofball charm from incinerated. He's living in a derelict motel, sleeping with a gun under his pillow, consumed by a single obsession: finding the recruiter and destroying the games. He's funneled his winnings into a private manhunt, hiring his former loan shark, Kim Jong-rae, and his employee Choi Woo-seok to stake out subway stations across Seoul, with nothing but a crude sketch of the recruiter's face to go on. The search takes 2 years because, as it turns out, the recruiter doesn't only work the subways, he roams bakeries, parks, and public spaces across South Korea, playing different games with the desperate and destitute. The show's first great set piece comes when Gi-hun's men finally corner the recruiter, leading to a tense game of Russian roulette crossed with rock, paper, scissors that ends with the recruiter's death, but not before he's given Gi-hun the business card needed to re-enter the games. Meanwhile, Detective Hwang Jun-ho, who was shot by his own brother, the frontman, and fell into the sea at the end of Season 1, is revealed to be alive. He was rescued by a fishing boat captain and has spent years independently searching for the island where the games take place. His investigation runs parallel to Gi-hun's throughout the season, though the two won't connect until much later. Gi-hun's plan is threefold: re-enter the games, persuade the players to vote to leave, thereby ending the competition, and plant a tracking device so Junho and the mercenaries can locate the island. He recruits his old friend Park Jung-bae, Lee Seo-hwan, a divorced father deep in debt, to enter alongside him, giving himself at least one ally he trusts on the inside. In episode 3, Gi-hun, now player 456 once again, and Jung-bae, player 390, arrive on the island alongside 456 total contestants. All of them, as always, people crushed by financial desperation. Season 2 significantly expands its ensemble, introducing characters whose interconnected relationships become central to the drama. Among the key new players, Cho Hyun-joo, a transgender former Special Forces soldier who becomes one of the season's most compelling figures. Thanos, Choi Sung-hyun, better known as Topi, a flamboyant, drug-smuggling rapper whose charisma masks genuine menace. Lee Myung-gi, a disgraced cryptocurrency influencer whose scam ruined the lives of other players now trapped in the game alongside him. Kim Joon-hee, a young pregnant woman. Kang Dae-ho, a gentle former Marine, and the mother-son duo of Jang Geum-ja and Park Yong-sik, whose conflicting reasons for being in the game create wrenching tension. The first game is Red Light, Green Light, the same nightmare that opened Season 1. Gi-hun, armed with foreknowledge, coaches the players around him, saving lives, but also establishing himself as a leader. After the bloodbath, he immediately pushes for a vote to end the games, eloquently pleading with the survivors to leave while they still can. He nearly succeeds. The vote is agonizingly close. But then a late arrival tilts the balance. Player 001, a man who introduces himself as Oh Young-il. He's soft-spoken, sympathetic, and he votes to continue. His single vote, combined with the desperation of those whose debts outweigh their fear, keeps the games going. The audience, however, already knows the truth. Young-il is actually Hwang In-ho, the frontman himself, who has entered the game undercover to monitor and manipulate Gi-hun from the inside. It's a devastating echo of Season 1's Player 001 twist, where the elderly Oh Il-nam turned out to be the game's creator. and it means that every moment of trust Gi-hun places in this man is a trap. In episode 4, the second game is the six-legged pentathlon, a relay race where teams of 5 must complete 5 Korean children's games: dakji, flying stone, gongi, jacks, spinning top, and jegi, a hacky sack-like kicking game, and cross the finish line within 5 minutes. If any team member fails, the entire team is eliminated. This game forces players into alliances and reveals character under pressure. Gi-hun's team himself, Jung-bae, Young-il, the disguised frontman, Dae-ho, and the pregnant Jun-hee barely scrapes through. Hyunju's team of apparent misfits, including the elderly shaman Seon-yo, also survives thanks largely to Hyunju's calm leadership and motivational instincts. Other teams are not so lucky. Those who can't complete the mini-games within the time limit are executed on the spot. In the downtime between games, alliances solidify and fracture. Thanos establishes a hierarchical crew, bullying weaker players like Min-soo into compliance while sharing smuggled drugs with his lieutenant Namgyu. Myung-gi, the crypto scammer, finds himself targeted by players he personally bankrupted, a volatile powder keg that will explode later. The second vote is called. Young-il, the frontman, strategically votes to leave, maintaining his cover as a reasonable man aligned with Gi-hun's cause. But the majority vote to continue. The prize pool of 20.1 billion won split among 255 survivors feels insufficient to those drowning in debt. The chant of "one more game" spreads like contagion through the dormitory, an explicitly political metaphor about how desperate populations can be manipulated into choosing against their own survival. In episode 5 and 6, the third game is Mingle, essentially a lethal version of musical chairs. Players are placed on a spinning carousel platform. When the music stops, a number is called. Players have 30 seconds to form groups of that exact number and lock themselves inside one of 50 surrounding rooms. Anyone left outside or in a room with the wrong count is gunned down. Mingle is the season's bloodiest game, reducing 255 players to approximately 100 across multiple rounds. The mathematics grow increasingly sadistic as the numbers shrink. The frontman, posing as Young-il, correctly deduces that the final round will require groups of 2, demonstrating an uncanny understanding of the game's architecture that Gi-hun doesn't think to question. During Mingle, relationships are tested to their breaking point. Thanos literally kicks his sycophantic fan Gyeong-soo out of a group when the numbers don't add up, condemning him to death with a casual shove. The timid young Mi, part of Hyunju's group, doesn't make it to a room in time and is shot from behind while tearfully staring through a door slot. It's one of the season's most devastating images. A subplot running through these episodes follows Kang No-yul, Park Gyu-young, a pink-suited guard who is secretly horrified by the games. She's been sabotaging the black market organ harvesting operation run by corrupt guards who prey on eliminated but not yet dead players. Her interference earns her violent threats from her colleagues, but she becomes an unrecognized ally to the players, particularly to Gyeong-seok, a player she has a personal connection to. After Mingle, a third vote is called, and this time it ends in a tie. The guards announce a 24-hour break before a new vote. This is, of course, by design. The pause gives those who want to continue a clear incentive to intimidate or eliminate those who don't. The game organizers provide sharp utensils with dinner, a quiet invitation to violence. The invitation is accepted. In the bathroom, the simmering conflict between Myung-gi, the crypto scammer, and Thanos erupts into open brutality. Myung-gi stabs Thanos in the throat with a fork, the first non-game kill of the season. 5 people die in the brawl. The players crystallize into 2 warring factions marked with X, those who want to leave, and O, those who want to continue. And the factions begin identifying as opposing tribes in ways that mirror real-world political polarization with unsettling precision. In episode 7, the season finale begins in the aftermath of the bathroom massacre. With the O's planning to attack the X's once the lights go out, hoping to kill enough opponents to win the next day's vote, Gi-hun makes a desperate decision. Rather than fighting the other players, he proposes storming the guards. His plan? wait for the O's to attack under cover of darkness, then use the chaos to steal weapons from the guards and fight their way to the control room where the frontman operates. Young-il, the frontman still in disguise, is the one who pushes Gi-hun toward this decision by framing it in philosophical terms. Are you suggesting that we make a small sacrifice for the greater good? When Gi-hun agrees, the frontman smiles. He's already won. When darkness falls, the O's attack. Gi-hun's team, including Hyunju, who reveals her special forces training in a stunning display of military prowess, ambushes the guards and seizes their weapons. For a brief electric moment, it seems like the players might actually win. They fight their way through the stairwells, taking down guards, pushing toward the control room. But the game is not designed for the players to win. The frontman peels away from Gi-hun's group, claiming he's found an alternate route. Instead, he shoots the two players, accompanying him in the back, fakes his own death over the radio, and switches back to his black cloak and mask. He contacts his guard team and orders them to crush the rebellion. They do. The rebels are outgunned, outnumbered, and betrayed from within. Players die on the staircases and in the corridors. The Marine who had retrieved ammunition panics when he hears gunfire and fails to deliver it to the rebels. The rebellion collapses. Gi-hun and Jung-bae, the last rebels standing, are forced to surrender. Gi-hun still doesn't know that Young-il is the frontman. He believes his ally died trying to help them. Then the frontman appears in his black mask and delivers the season's most devastating line. Player 456, did you have fun playing the hero? Look closely at the consequences of your little hero game. He shoots Jung-bae in the chest, right in front of Gi-hun. Jung-bae, Gi-hun's oldest friend, the man who followed him into a workers' strike years ago, who entered the games because Gi-hun asked him to, dies with his eyes open, staring at nothing. Gi-hun screams. The front man walks away. The guards scan Jung-bae's lifeless body. The season ends with Gi-hun on the ground, wailing, utterly destroyed. Those who stayed past the credits were rewarded with a brief but crucial stinger. 3 surviving players, 0, 9, 6, 100, and 353, approached the familiar figure of Young-hee, the animatronic doll from Red Light, Green Light. But this time, Young-hee is facing a second doll, a boy, positioned directly opposite her. Creator Hwang Dong-hyuk confirmed this is Chil-soo, Young-hee's boyfriend, and that this scene teases the most exciting game in Season 3. The implication is chilling, a version of Red Light, Green Light where 2 dolls can detect movement from both directions, making survival exponentially harder. The ending of Season 2 is not just a cliffhanger, it's the culmination of an ideological argument that has been building across the entire season. The frontman, Hwang In-ho, entered the games disguised as player 001, not merely to spy on Gi-hun, but to prove a point. In-ho was once an idealistic police officer, a man not unlike Gi-hun. He won a previous iteration of the games and emerged transformed. Not grateful, but nihilistic. He now believes that humanity is irredeemable, that the strong will always exploit the weak, that compassion is a weakness, and that history is nothing but an endless cycle of rulers and ruled. Gi-hun represents the opposite thesis, that people, given the chance, will choose solidarity over self-interest, that the games can be stopped if enough people simply refuse to play. The frontman's entire Season 2 arc is designed to dismantle that belief, to force Gi-hun into a position where his idealism directly causes the death of someone he loves. And it works! When the frontman asks Gi-hun if he's willing to sacrifice a few for the greater good, and Gi-hun says yes, the frontman has already won the argument. He's proven that Gi-hun, the supposed humanitarian, will rationalize casualties when it serves his goals, just like every powerful person before him. The murder of Jung-bae is the exclamation point. Season 2 is structured as a series of escalating failures for Gi-hun. His first plan, hiring mercenaries to find the island from outside, fails when the fishing boat captain who rescued Jun-ho is revealed to be a spy working for the games. In the finale, the captain stabs one of Jun-ho's men and throws him overboard when he's caught tampering with a search drone. His second plan, persuading players to vote to leave, fails because desperation and manipulation consistently tip the scales toward continuing. His third plan, the armed rebellion, fails because the man he trusted most was the enemy all along. By the end of Season 2, Gi-hun has lost his best friend, his rebellion, and any remaining illusion that he can beat the system through noble intentions alone. Every strategy he's attempted has been anticipated, undermined, or co-opted by the people running the games. The house always wins. The parallels to Season 1's Player 001 twist are intentional and devastating. In the first season, Oh-il-nam befriended Gi-hun as a fragile old man, only to reveal himself as the game's wealthy creator, someone who participated in the killing for the thrill of it. In Season 2, the frontman befriends Gi-hun as a fellow player, voting alongside him, fighting alongside him, earning his deepest trust, only to reveal that every moment of apparent solidarity was a performance designed to destroy him from within. Both seasons end with Gi-hun learning that the person he trusted was his greatest enemy. But Season 2's version is more painful because Gi-hun should have seen it coming. He spent years preparing to take down the games, yet he never considered the possibility that the frontman might enter the arena himself. The cruelest irony is that the man was literally called Player 001. The same number that betrayed him last time. If Season 1 was about why people enter systems designed to exploit them, Season 2 is about why those systems are so resistant to change. Every mechanism of the game, the votes, the factions, the nighttime violence, the escalating prize pool, is designed to turn solidarity into conflict and compassion into liability. The game doesn't just kill people, it makes them complicit in their own destruction. The voting system is the purest expression of this thesis. On paper, it's democratic, majority rules. In practice, it's rigged from every angle. The psychological manipulation of showing the growing prize pool before each vote, the overnight pause after a tie that implicitly sanctions violence, the infiltration of a literal game organizer into the player population. The show's political metaphor isn't subtle, but it doesn't need to be. The question it poses is uncomfortable precisely because it's universal. How many times have you watched the majority vote against its own survival, and how many times have you been part of that majority? Creator Hwang Dong-hyuk was explicit about what the everything. The question the final season must answer is whether Gi-hun will maintain his belief in human goodness or become what the frontman always wanted him to be. Another cynic who accepts that the game is unwinnable and that people, at their core, will always choose self-preservation over solidarity. As Hwang put it, will he continue on with the mission? Is he going to give up or persist? Will he become a completely different person, someone just like the frontman? The mid-credits scene suggests the games will continue with even greater lethality. The surviving players, roughly 45 by most counts, face a gauntlet of new horrors. And somewhere outside the island, Jun-ho is still searching, still trying to find his brother, still representing the last thread of hope that the system can be dismantled from the outside. But after everything Season 2 has shown us about how these systems protect themselves, that hope feels fragile at best.